The revelations say that when the sun dies 5 times, a red lake will appear to the west of the city, with a name both new and old. It is proof that the fifth angel will alight. The angel is the Hawk of Darkness, the master of the sinful black sheep and the king of the blind white sheep, the one who shall call upon the world an age of darkness. This is really the only clue we get about what the Hawk of Light and the Hawk of Darkness in Berserk is and what it could all mean. And it's as mysterious as it is straightforward. So in the manga series Berserk, there is a prophecy involving a Hawk of Light, a messianic figure that will come down to save everyone and lead them into salvation. As well, there is a mention of a Hawk of Darkness who will bring about chaos and ruin to the world. It's said that the prophecy is written in the scriptures of the Holy See, the religion followed by the majority of the people in Berserk, meaning whatever governs fate and causality itself has left mankind clues as to how everything would transpire. For the majority of the story, we follow Berserk through the perspective of Guts and his party, which are our main characters. But by doing so, we are limited to the knowledge that they have and have experienced of the things that are going on in the world. And in one way, this works perfectly because we are in their place as readers, and surprises to them also become surprises to us. But where it can be seen as a negative, though, is that there is still much about Berserk that has yet to be explained. And as we wait literal years for chapters to be released, those questions go unanswered for quite a long time. But it does allow us to come up with theories and explanations amongst the fandom. And with that, I would like to share one of my own, which I'm sure is not unique to me and other people have thought the same thing, but here it goes. In many religions in the world, there is a deep dichotomy between the forces of good and evil, the light side and the dark side. We have God and the devil. And I feel like it comes from the inner potential and feelings of every human being. We all have the ability to act upon what's good and what's evil. And those are also very subjective words, I know, and they can mean many different things to different people. Some of the people that we would consider evil believe that they were doing good in their hearts, or at least justified it that way. The inner conflict within all of us is how we are going to respond to a situation in any point in time. Will we lash out, or will we take a deep breath in? We have thoughts of love and kindness and wanting to do right by others and show the ones close to us how much they mean. But we also have dark thoughts of wanting to punch somebody in the face or steal something somebody has that you want. And it's an everyday, circumstance by circumstance battle between our inner light and our inner darkness. I talked about the Beast of Darkness in Berserk in another video, which I will link in the description below, where I go more into detail about it. But in that, I mentioned how the dark side of Guts' mind was given personification in the story so that we can see and understand the severity of his trauma. Going through as much as Guts has caused his inner darkness to overflow from its restraints, and he struggles to keep it at bay. And it is a heavily amplified version of what we all go through daily. Guts represents what it is to be human and what we can do to overcome our obstacles. Early in the Conviction arc, Guts is mistaken as the Hawk of Darkness by the Holy Iron Chain Knights. This was due to the story of Guts' deeds being connected to all these events where people claim that there were divine things at play, seeing demons and monsters and witnessing the skills and ruthlessness of Guts himself. Not to mention the fact that he wore all black, so that didn't help him there. So this led many fans to think that he was mistaken as the Hawk of Darkness, but is really the Hawk of Light, that Guts was the one mentioned in the prophecy. But I do not think this is the case. I don't believe Guts is the Hawk of Light or the Hawk of Darkness. I think Guts is just Guts. He's just a man. One meant to die many times but keeps evading it, thus giving him the potential to throw a wrench in the plans of fate. Someone not expected to be around so he can cause change in the timeline that otherwise would have never been expected to be there. As Skull Knight tells him, he's like a fish that can breach the water's surface. It causes a ripple effect that can perhaps eventually cause a great change. And I will get back to that momentarily. But then we have Griffith, who is very plainly and clearly the Hawk of Darkness. The prophecy matches and pretty much directly references Griffith himself. Reading through the prophecy once again, the sun dying 5 times, 5 eclipses where Griffith's being the final last one. A red lake, a lake filled with the bodies and blood of the band of the Hawk that were sacrificed to help Griffith ascend. The 5th angel will alight. Femto is born. That angel is the Hawk of Darkness, plain and simple. Master of the sinful black sheep, meaning master of apostles, and sheep of course referring to people that follow blindly, and even apostles are subject to follow this order. They view Griffith as a god just as much as the humans do, and for all we know, it could be their biggest mistake in the end as well. King of the blind white sheep, Griffith raising the ancient kingdom and taking its place as its ruler, and the white ship being humanity viewing him as their savior. The one who shall call upon the age of darkness. Finally, Griffith opens up the barrier between the physical and astral worlds, bringing every monster and creature that exists therein into one place, creating a world of monsters with only one safe haven for everyone, Falconia, his kingdom, deliberately luring mankind into one location for a yet unknown purpose. All the while, those people followed their Hawk of Light, believing him to be the savior of all mankind. So if Griffith is the Hawk of Darkness, and people believe him to be the Hawk of Light, then who is the real Hawk of Light? Well, I believe it's still Griffith. I don't believe that the Holy See actually planned for there to be a real Hawk of Light. In fact, I think the idea of the Hawk of Light was deliberately placed in the Holy See scriptures and prophecies in order to give mankind even more of a reason to follow Griffith in the first place, believing he is the savior and having that divine credibility to his name. Because it is my opinion that the Holy See in and of itself was deliberately created to control the people and was part of the plan of fate and the God Hand had from the very start. We know, as stated multiple times by those that are aware, that before the Holy See religion took hold, magical creatures and spirits roamed freely in the physical world. People were more connected to the earth and the elements and the elemental kings themselves, which are spirits of each element that reside in the astral world. I did a monster manual on those if you want to know more about them. But over time, people forgot these things existed, and exchanged that naturalistic spiritual side for a more rigid and controlling one in the Holy See. You can view this as in before there were no rules to govern humanity when it came to divinity, but now with the Holy See there would be. And with the Holy See, it renounced things like magic and naturalistic processes as heresy. It slowly changed people's viewpoints and made them believe that things that could protect and save them were now evil and wrong. And by the fear of punishment if found out, and by the value of rewards in heaven if followed correctly, people abandoned the old way of life for this new one. So imagine that whatever governs fate, be it the idea of evil or the God Hand or whatever, what if they subtly manipulated fate so that the Holy See would take over and weaken mankind's attachment to the astral world? This would make them more fearful of it and cause people to imagine monsters and beasts like trolls that could be willed into existence due to that collective fear. So in a way, people created their own monsters in their head that would eventually come to exist for real and merge into the physical world and then physically be able to kill them, thus adding more souls to the abyss. Yeah. And with that, people became blocked off from the positive astral creatures and physically became unable to see them with no belief in things like elves anymore. The Holy See causes people's fear to increase and attachment to the positive spiritual entities to decrease. This leads a perfect opening for a savior to be sent to them. So what I'm saying is that the Holy See adds the perfect setup for Griffith to be reborn and seen as a savior. And so if you're with me that the Holy See is a creation by the powers that be, then you can also accept that the Hawk of Light / Hawk of Darkness prophecy was meant to make people think in one particular way. It didn't lie about the Hawk of Darkness coming, but it didn't tell everyone that the Hawk of Light is the same thing. Griffith gave up his humanity to become a God Hand. If we go back to the original idea of good and evil within every man and woman, as I mentioned before, and as Griffith himself states, he is free. There's no struggle within him as there is with Guts. There is no humanity in him now as he has fully embraced his darkness. So his dark and his light are one and the same. Even the devil has been referred to as the Lord of Light. That could be the same here with Griffith. He is both darkness and light. Dreams of the Hawk of Light were seen in every living being on Earth, basically setting up his arrival even more. Fate putting the idea out there Inception style into people's minds and letting people prepare even further. But most notably, the Hawk appeared in the dreams and visions of the Pontiff of the Holy See. And with his highest authority, Griffith was granted official divine rulership. And who would dare question this faith after hearing that and seeing the miracles that Griffith can perform, as well as him winning a war for them and planning to marry the princess? It's a absolute perfect scenario. Now, one more point to mention. So, what if there still is a true Hawk of Light? That despite everything, despite the prophecy being misleading, what if the prophecy turns out to be fully true after all, and there is a Hawk of Light? Were that the case, I believe the Hawk of Light could only be one character, that of the Moonlight Boy. The body of the corrupted demon child of Guts and Casca could have been that ripple in the water that Guts caused by, well, having sex. So that's neat. But if we assume Griffith didn't know that Casca was pregnant when he corrupted the child, then the irony of Griffith, the false Hawk of Light, causing the creation of the true Hawk of Light would just be too good to be true. By a fluke of events, that demon child wound up becoming the vessel for Femto in the physical world, creating his body out of it to look like his human self, Griffith the man, how he used to look. But it's only a facade. And keep in mind that it has not been 100% confirmed that Griffith and the Moonlight Boy are sharing this body, but like, come on, just come on. Anyway, so far, the Moonlight Boy has been nothing but a positive force and influence in the story. Creatures of darkness flee from it and has actively calmed down Guts' inner rage. Guts' beast of darkness, that darkness within you. Darkness meet light. This child might be the key to saving everyone and everything. And for the how, I don't really know, but if you ask me what character could be the Hawk of Light, the true Hawk of Light, I think it's right here in this boy. But after all, that's just a theory. So let me know what you guys think. What do you think of the Hawk of Light, Hawk of Darkness prophecy in Berserk? Who do you think is the Hawk of Light? Who do you think is the Hawk of Darkness? Tell me what you think about it down below in the comments. Thanks a lot for watching this video, guys. I really do appreciate it. Please give it a thumbs up if you would. Subscribe if you want to stick around. That would be pretty cool. I'd appreciate it. Other than that, guys, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you in the next video.